Hi everybody, I'm GPLabs and welcome. Today we're going to do a little bit of an old school challenge. We have here some scrapped cars. Now we are in Rangeley, Colorado. We're going to try to take them to Salt Lake City. But I was watching an episode on GPLabs where they did a no GPS episode. Basically, they broke all the functions on their truck to be able to show you the GPS on the map and things like that. And then they tried to get from one place to another. And I thought that looked so cool that I wanted to try it. But we're going to do it a little bit of a step more challenging. We're going to do it with no maps. So imagine that we're at this Western Metals place here in Colorado, and they give us some directions how to get to the place we're going. I've written them all down here on this handy dandy piece of paper with a pencil, and I am going to take the map function, which is right here. Now I've removed the GPS indicator from the map. So even though we can't see it, we don't know where the truck is. And if we look at the map here, we can't see where the truck is either. But the thing about the map that actually gives you an advantage with this is the map is always, well, not if I do that. It's always centered on where you are. So we kind of start out, we can kind of tell where we are, but we're in Rangeley, Colorado right here. And here is our route. So I've got it all plotted out and I've written it all down. We're going to go out. We have to turn right here on 64. It's actually not that challenging, I think, unless we screw it up, and then it's going to be challenging to not look at the map. Then we have to go up here and have to take a left on 40, go all the way through Vernal. That's going to turn to 191 here, up over my head. It's going to stay in 40. We're going to just keep going straight the whole way until we butt into I-80. And then we're going to go west on I-80 towards Salt Lake City, then immediately take the first exit, which is south on I-15. Get the first exit again on 151. That turns to 172. Then we turn left here on 201, and Western Metals in Salt Lake City should be right there. Can we do it? Now, this is the last time I am going to look at the map. We are not going to look at the map more. And for the bottom right-hand corner, instead of showing that, I'm going to show that. Got all the information written down here. We're going old school. No map, no GPS. Let's get this started here. So yeah, we have these scrap metals on the back. It should be a fun ride. It's not going to make us much money, but it should be entertaining. Now, I think what we do is we got to get out here, and then we're going to turn right on 64, and that should dead end in 40. So that part should be easy here. Now, I did have an opportunity to take like a triple tandem trailer, but I thought that would be a little bit bold to try to do no map, no GPS with a triple tandem trailer. That would be a little bit insane the first time. But this is going old school, so let's see if we can get out onto 40, and then we'll go down a little bit and we'll chat as we get going. It's going to be a long stretch on 40 West. So I feel like this is actually not going to be super challenging here. So I assume this is 64. There it is. Yep, there's our sign right there. Oh, this is old school. This is the way we used to drive, kids. Yeah. I mean, this is how we used to do it, looking for signs and stuff, and you'd have a map, and sometimes you didn't have a map, and literally sometimes you just had directions like this that someone sent you in an actual letter. And if if they screwed something up, it's like, who knows what happened. So hopefully I can understand my own directions here. Now I think what we do here, what time is it, by the way? It's 8 o'clock in the morning. No, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. That's not bad. And I don't know how tired we are, but I guess we'll figure that out as we get going. I don't want to look at it because that's it. I've turned off the voice navigation aids too, so we're getting no help from our Turkish compatriot here. So we're looking now for our next sign. This is so old school. We're looking now for our next sign, which should be west on 40, and it should be a dead end, so it shouldn't be that hard to figure out here. So we're going way too fast, I think, right? Yep, junction 40 right there. Boom! This is pretty cool. Could be fun. I might do a whole series with these because this is actually kind of challenging. I should say too, right, that I am like the worst GPS dependent driver in the world now. If I went to the airport the other day to pick up my daughter, she was flying back in from Atlanta, and I know how to get to the airport. I've driven there like 100 times. So I'm like, I don't need the GPS on. Because my GPS wasn't telling me what to do, I drove right past the airport. I was like 10 miles past the airport before I even realized it. So I am such a GPS dependent driver now in real life. This could be challenging. The other thing about this episode, just as to side, we are in Utah right now. So we're going to stay on 40 for a long time, basically, and hopefully not getting off of 40 accidentally. We're going to stay on 40 for a long time until we butt into I-80. This actually might be a pretty easy challenge for the first time here, but I must admit, I'm kind of liking this. It's gonna be kind of cool. You have to actually like use your sense. The problem is, right, the big problem was, and this was the same problem back in the day, is that you had your directions and stuff like that, and if you missed a turn, then you had to figure out how to get back the way, and sometimes that wasn't easy. Or there'd be construction, right, and you just wouldn't know it, and you'd get there and it wasn't on the directions, and there wouldn't be a detour, and it's like, well, good luck figuring out how to get around the construction now. But yeah, all these things are not necessarily the point right now. We are going to plow on ahead on I-40 for quite a while here. So let's check in as we get a little bit farther down the road. Hopefully we don't make a wrong turn, because then we are on our own. See you in a bit. Man, this town's crazy. They got helicopters and dinosaurs. Vernal is pretty cool here. Here's a T-Rex with a sombrero on. I think we might need gas too. No, gas we're okay, but I think we might need to sleep at some point. So I think if we see a rest area, we might grab it. One thing I've noticed about driving like this is you have to be a lot more present where you are, right? You can't just, your place on the earth, you have to figure it out. And so you can't just rely and looking down in a half second and kind of look at a GPS and the GPS just tells you where you are. You have to kind of have and it really builds up a sense of direction too, because knowing where north is really helpful. So I know like our kids, we used to joke with our own kids because they grew up without this kind of, you know, they could always rely on GPSs and stuff like that. They have no clue where north is. Whereas for me, it's like if I go outside, I can generally point to where north is almost all the time without almost even thinking about it. Just because when you grew up and had to drive without GPSs and sometimes without maps and just relying on figuring out stuff, you had to know where north was. It was really helpful to know where north was. So we are hopefully making our way down 40 here. I don't believe I've taken a wrong turn. The other thing about this too that I noticed because of the way I have the GPS set up here is that there's a sign for 40. So we're still good, I think. The other thing that you realize when you drove like this is you have no idea how long it's going to take to get someplace, right? You kind of had to guess. Like now with the GPS does so many more things other than like giving you directions, right? Because the GPS tells you to the minute, roughly, how much farther away you've got to go. And so that's a helpful piece of information. Because now as I'm driving, it's like, well, I know sometime we're gonna come to I-80, but I don't know if it's like around the corner here, or actually if we've got like another hour and a half to go. I mean, you generally can kind of figure it out kind of from like, you know, towns and stuff like that too. But like right now, I confess, I don't really know how far away I-80 is. I think this is like a 5-hour drive. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, that's historical marker. I was getting excited because it was Texas, but it's not Texas. So that's not a helpful historical marker. But yeah, so you'd be like, well, okay, I think we got like 2 hours left, but it could be 3, it could be 1. You just kind of had to figure it out. So anyway, all these kinds of little odd bits of information. And if you're a driver that drove or learned how to drive before GPS, the other thing you would learn too is like stopping at gas stations and asking for directions. You know, like you go inside and you'd ask the person there, like, hey, do you know where? And you hope the person knew where it was, right? And they could actually give you directions. The worst was when they thought they knew where it was and they would give you directions that were totally wrong. Because then you'd like follow these things and you'd end up in like some park somewhere. It's like, this isn't the hotel. The hotel is like nowhere near here. It used to take us like days to get places too. Sometimes sometimes you just show up like 2 hours late. You're like, yeah, sorry, I got lost. I didn't know where I was. And it took me a couple hours to figure it out. And people are like, oh yeah, okay, that happened. It's an amazing time. This is actually really fun because I mean, I suppose it's a little, I kind of think, yeah, I've got it the way the GPS is set up right now, this little information panel on the right-hand side, like it's not showing how much distance is left. It does tell my next rest stop. So I do know I'll be tired in about 10 hours. So we don't have to sleep. And we got gas, I can see that. And that's information you always had too. You always could look at your kind of dashboard and figure out how much gas you had. So we knew that stuff, but like how much farther it was, and where to turn, where you were in the world. You just had to look and use your eyes and figure it all out. It was just a whole different way. Now, I'm not saying that was better, right? It's better now. We don't get lost as much. You can think about other stuff. That whole like part of my brain that was dedicated towards like figuring out where you were in the world and figuring out what kind of turns you had to make and stuff like that. Like I can fill that up with a lot more helpful stuff right now, right? So you don't have to fill it up with all that kind of useful stuff. But it is fun to revisit. I might kind of do a few more of these because I'm kind of, this truck's going to cut us off, isn't it? It is. That crazy. I knew that. That was pretty cool. Do you see that? Now this car is going to cut us off too. I knew that truck was going to cut us off, and I swerved into the other lane and avoided that accident. Yeah. Now, if there was a car coming the other way, we would have had a problem, but I kind of want to go run that Newport truck off the road now, but because he cut me off, I had to slow down too, so oh well, what can you do? Anyway, we got a zigzag road here. We'll get to I-80 in some point, I think. Getting through Salt Lake City is going to be a challenge. Oh yes, the other thing I forgot to mention too. Salt Lake City, I think, is the last city I think we need to get the Utah achievement. Go figure. It's the biggest city in Utah, and I think I've been to every other city in Utah except Salt Lake City. So I think it's going to get us achievement for this one too, which would be good. So that will be nice. But yeah, it's kind of nice views here too, as we kind of go through here. Check it out. Yeah, pretty good stuff. Yeah, I like this. Desert and dry. Anyway, we will keep making our way along the highway here, and we'll touch base as we get a little bit closer to, well, when I think we're a little bit closer to I-80. It can't be that much further, right? Because, well, I have no idea. So now the other thing that's challenging too, I was thinking about this too. The other thing that the GPSs help you with, and the earlier GPSs didn't do this, right? It was just like a single line for the road. The new ones actually have the now, but when GPSs first came out, they didn't have the lanes. So you kind of had to figure out the turns and everything like that on your own. So this is the same thing now, right? Like, even though I know we need to go west on I-80, I don't know ahead of time before I get there what lane I need to be in order to go west on I-80. So you kind of got to hope the road tells you which way to go. You get signs and stuff like that to be in this lane, be in that lane. You got to read the signs, and the signs aren't always built the best, right? I mean, sometimes they're kind of goofy and unhelpful, so you don't really know which way to go. So that's one thing we're going to have to figure out as we get there is, okay, what way do we have to go in order to be able to do this? The other thing I should say too, I will put links down. So I've got 3 mods installed to do this, and I eventually ended up using 2 of them. One of the mods was to kind of make the, and I'm not quite sure which ones I installed and how I did it. This car on the right hand side is making me a little bit nervous here, so we'll cut it off. There's 2 mods. I'll put links down to them below. They were just on some forum, which is never really makes me feel safe. So caveat emptor, right? Be careful. But they're working fine. I downloaded 3 of them. One of them removes the GPS, so on the map, so you can't. I think it just makes it so tiny that you can't see it. And then one of them turns all of the roads on the map yellow, regardless of whether you have traveled that road or not. Because my original intent was to do it with using the map, but not using the GPS. But then when I pulled up the map, every time the map centered exactly on the middle of your truck. So you could kind of tell where you were, and a real map doesn't do that, right? In the world, it's a piece of paper. You look at it, you have no idea where you are. So I thought, okay, let's make the challenge a little bit more challenging here. Let's go totally no maps and see if we can do it that way. So imagine we got our directions and we didn't have a map. We left it at home. And so we just have to wing it. By the way, sorry, my brain is just filled with stuff. I had a wee bit of cookies a little while ago, so I might be on a little bit of a sugar buzz here. Although I did go to the gym, I still think I'm on a sugar buzz though. I'm probably a little bit more chatty than normal. I have gone, weigh station, pull in. Oh, so this is something that could screw us up, right? Because the weigh station, I don't know where the weigh station is for one thing. Oh, there it is. Okay, signage, yeah. Weigh station, port of entry. Okay, this must be it. But now we have to figure out how to get back to the road. Hopefully that's not going to be too big of an issue. This truck's over here. This looks pretty straightforward. We got a conga line of trucks here. Stop at the truck scale. And I completely forgot what I was talking about now. Oh, yes. Sissel's Mega Pack, right? It doesn't work anymore. And I think it's probably because of the new truck, right? This is the brand new, like the Western Star 5700 XE Deluxe or something like that. It's whatever that newest truck was. So I'm not sure the mod's been updated to work with this truck. That's the only thing I can think of, because I screwed around with the mod order and stuff like that, and it's still not working and stuff like that. So anyway, so what that means is diesel, no diesel. Instead, we just have a blanket and some hamburgers, which Whoops, pass the inspection, press enter. There we go, 83,000. Yeah, so diesel is, I think, still in our old truck. I kind of miss diesel. Diesel, by the way, if you're new to the series, Diesel is our dog, and he rides with us everywhere, except since we got the Western Star XE Uber Deluxe here, because I can't seem to get him back now. Every time we go to the mechanics shop, he is not available. So maybe if someone knows what's going on with that, maybe does. I guess that's the only thing I can think of, is that the mod doesn't work with this new truck, that maybe they have to be tweaked to work with every truck. That's the only thing I got. Balloons in front of us, by the way. I have been chatting for the longest time. I will be quiet now. But I think we're coming up on I-80 pretty soon. Gonna zip it up. Yeah, Park City, Salt Lake. Okay. There we go. Yep, I-40 straight at 40 straight ahead. Hopefully we'll see signs to I-80 pretty soon. So far, so good, right? We haven't gotten lost yet. Although, to be fair, it was only 2 turns, right? We'll see in a little bit. I'm gonna be quiet. Oh, sign, junction I-80, 24 miles. Boom. Now, I would know what that distance was in real life. It'd be roughly 24 minutes on a highway, right? Or a little bit less, but, well, it's a factor of 19 to 1. It should be about a minute or so, depending on how fast we go. Minute to 2 minutes, right? Once we get out of the city limits here. So we're almost to I-80. Now the fun becomes, because we have to make those turns quickly and accurately, and I have to figure out how to make those turns without getting shot off in the wrong way. I think it's going to be left exit, because it's curving over the highway, going that way. Well, that way on backwards camera stuff. It's a big climb here, too. Going up, up, up. All right, we'll see when we get to I-80. All righty, there's our first sign for junction 80. I better pop this mirror up here, because I don't want to get cut off. West, left lane, that's what we want. Okay. Oh, I'm feeling confident now. And then, oh yeah, okay, so we're gonna go west, next left. The lights here, let's stop. Stop, big truck. Okay, good. So the other thing you have to figure out, I guess it is a touch easier with these little X's and stuff like that, right? Because one of the other things you had to figure out with the map was like, was your actual turn your actual turn? And I think I'm supposed to be over in this lane here. Let's do that. Let's just slide over here. But yeah, I think we just go right over there and we're out of here. So hopefully that'll work. I think we're going to get a ticket here too. And by the way, did I mention that? I lost it. But I have a note that I had on my wheel that was turn your lights on. And look, my lights are on. Yes. So we are going, oops, no, that's the other way. So yep, I stuck a little post-it note right on the steering wheel. And then when I turned on the steering wheel, it was like, oh, that's right. LL, turn on my lights. We're good. Here we go. So now after this, we're gonna go west. What? Why is that red light violation? We're going, okay. Whatever. It's only $700 of fake money. So this looks like the right way. I guess those little X's will kind of guide you. That's a little bit different than it would be in real life, but we'll take that help, I guess. So now we're gonna go west on I-80 to Salt Lake City. We're doing this part right. Our next thing is we are going to go south on I-15, which is left as well. So I'm assuming that's gonna be another left turn here as we get down here. And it's not very far. It's like the first, it just butts right into it, I think. Because now we're going west and we wanna go south. So hopefully we can navigate this here. We should see signs for this pretty soon. Because I think I-80, does it end here? Yeah, okay. I-15 south, Las Vegas, West Valley. Whoops. That was the other thing that would happen, is you would read the signs and you'd forget to drive. Do we have to get off on the right here or on the left? I-15 north, south, next valley. We'll just watch the signs here. Here we go. I-15 south, Las Vegas, West Valley. Doing pretty good. The helicopter's helping us out here too. Here we go. Las Vegas West, I-15 south. Accident up ahead. No problems. We got this. Zip, zip. And what is this? I-15 south, west 201. Nope, we don't want that. We want to go straight. And then our next thing is the first exit after we get on I-15. The very first exit, we want to get to 151, I think. Whoops. That's the other thing you had to do, was like read your instructions and drive at the same time too. I'm not sure how we live this long. All right, so this is I-15, And the first exit here should be 151. And it is. Exit only. Boom! We're doing so well so far. Okay, so now what do we do? I-51, first exit. I think we go that way. Yeah, 151 west. Salt Lake City discovered. Achievement unlocked. The Beehive State. Nice. All right, so we made it to Salt Lake City. The worst we should have to do right now is drive around Salt Lake City for a long time. But hopefully that's okay. Now, what's the next thing we do? We just take this, and it should become 177. So it just goes around the corner. And then we have to turn left on 201. And then Western Star should be right there. We might have this. Let me know if you, maybe this is, I wonder if this is fun to watch. Maybe it's not that fun to watch, but, and let me know if you want to try it. I'll put links into the mod. If you do try it, let me know. It's actually kind of fun. I highly recommend it. It's a whole different way of playing ATS and ETS. And if you've done a ton of journeys, uh-oh, I gotta stop here. A little mushy break. There we go. You know, if you've done a ton of journeys like this is definitely a different way of driving. It definitely is challenging. So I highly recommend it. This is fun. I want to do some longer ones, and I want to do some more complicated ones. Because this, to be fair, this was a relatively straightforward one, relatively simple. And I'd like to do one with more challenging loads. And then at nighttime, that was always fun. Because then you can see the signs. You just drive right by them, and you're like, well, I don't know. I missed the sign. I don't know where I am. And you would have literally no idea where on the planet you were. So, good times. Really good times. But yeah, let me know if this is interesting too. I'm kind of curious how it is to watch, because it is certainly fun to do, but maybe watching it's like, well, it's the same thing except not as interesting. Who knows? Anyway, we will go forward a little bit. I'll see you as we get to the corner here. I think it's just, this is the corner, the road's going back, and the road's going to go straight, and then we're going to have to turn left on 201. And we might get those X things to help us out here. I'm not sure, but so far, so good. Yep, so this is turned to 172. And then up ahead, I imagine there's going to be a light, because it's kind of like downtown Salt Lake City here. And it shouldn't be that far if my memory serves me correct here. It's actually just a little bit ways down the road. We should turn left. But hopefully, again, hopefully there's a sign for 201. And hopefully it's marked somewhere. Looking for that 201 sign. There's a sign on that pole over there. Is that going to say junction 201? Yes, 201, that way. Perfect. Spotted it. Nice. Okay. Probably another sign over here on the right-hand side. This is actually interesting because I have never paid attention to the... So there's the sign right there. 201 West. Perfect. And Western Star should be right here. We even got the light. So the only thing we got was that $700 fine for screwing up that... Now, Western Star should be right here on the left somewhere. You should see the entrance to it. This might be it here. That it? I don't know. This was another thing we used to do, too, was drive around. I think it's in here, but I'm not sure. It certainly looks like it, right? It's a big junkyard, so it's got to be here, right? Let's use our brains, people. Let's use our brains. It's got to be in here. This is the gate. We should see the little sign. I think it was around... Yeah, there we go. Western Star, there's the entrance. All right. That was another thing you had to do was, like, once you got there, you still had to figure out where the place was. I like this destination. It's kind of cool. This is a big old junkyard that we have to drop it into. Now, let's see if we can park without our GPS. Just kidding. That's no difference here. We made it! 40 XP parking. No real big mistakes. Just one $700 fine for not really being in the right lane and stuff like that. Where do we park this now? I didn't look on the map there. So, so should I drive around? I don't know where we're supposed to park it, actually. I have no idea. I should have paid attention there. Oh, there it is, over there. Okay. That's actually not too bad. If we just come up here... squeeze it right through here, get it straight. I think then we can just look right out the mirror here, back it in, right? Gotta bend this around here. Anyway, we'll get going. We'll check in as we get a little bit closer to dropping this one in place. Hopefully we can get it in the first shot. Nope. Got hung up on a little pole there or something. Not doing a very good job here. I got hung up on one side there, and then I spun it around too much. So I think we'll get it, once we get it towards this, we'll straighten it out here and then get it in there. But it's not my best parking here. Totally butchering this. Alrighty. The drive was good. Now we're lined up and we should be able to get it here. There we go. Now we're home. Ding. Perfect. There we go. We made it. No GPS, no map. Now that, again, I don't think that, to be fair, that was not the most challenging route. I think next time we'll do a more challenging one. But let me know if you enjoyed this. How do we do here? We're getting close to level 27, still a ways to go. How much money do we have here? 181,000, so almost time to buy another base. Maybe after the next episode we'll do that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear your comments down below. And if you give it a try, let me know how it is. I'll put links to the two mods, the no GPS one, and then you kind of saw what I did, so I think it'll be pretty easy to copy. Turn off your voice nav and just switch your GPS, the little display there that only shows like the general route information, so you don't see the map at all. Write down your directions, don't use the map, and let me know how it goes. I'll put a link to the next episode as soon as it's ready. Thanks everybody for stopping in on Trucker Tuesdays. Bye.